Over the mirrors meant to glass the opulent, the sea worm crawls, grotesque, sly, dumb, indifferent. So over the mirrors meant to glass the opulent. Right? So over the mirrors, so the entire ship. So one, he's already talked about what's inside the ship, right? What's inside this burning fires which propel the ship and turn the waves into it's smooth like waves flow through the currents enter and flow through it like lyre. It's a music almost like musical. The waves are so rhythmic. But and what about the appearance? What about the upper decks? And what about all that we have heard about Titanic, right? All the opulence, the grand decoration, the grand decor of the ship. So over the mirrors meant to glass the opulence, the grandeur of the ship coming from mirrors and glass. What is what has happened to all that now? Sea worm crawls. So it's under the ship, under the sea, the solitude deep into the sea, the solitude of the sea. The sea worm crawls on it now. The sea worm crawls. And how does it look now? Grotesque, sly, dumb, indifferent. Sea worm as it crawls it's grotesque on this grand opulent mirror and glass. The sea worm's crawling. It looks grotesque, sly, dumb. Is it bad? No, it is just indifferent. Nature does not care for human enterprise. Nature does not care for human vanity. It is just indifferent to all this human pride and vanity. Jewels enjoy design. Can you see alliteration again? Jewels enjoy design to ravish the sensuous mind. Now, we have all heard of the opulence, the magnificence uh, of the Titanic, especially the chambers and the cabins meant for the upper classes, the aristocracy, encrusted with jewels and mirrors and glasses. So jewels enjoy design to ravish the sensuous mind, sensuous, given to sensuous pleasures, right? Enjoy looking at jewels and beauty and opulence. Lie lightless, all their sparkles bleared and black and blind. What has happened to it now? What has happened to the glass, the mirror, the jewels that ravished the sensuous mind? They now lie lightless. Alliteration again. Lie lightless, all their sparkles bleared and black and blind. It's all bleared, it's black and blind, it's all lost. Dim moon-eyed fishes near gaze at the gilded gear and query, what does this vaingloriousness down here? Vaingloriousness? Again, things that he has all just mentioned, the opulence, the grandness, the jewels, the mirrors, all the symbols of human vanity, human pride. Now, all those are deep into the seas, in the solitude of the sea, and who sees them now? Dim, moon-eyed fishes, and the fishes go there and gaze at the gilded gear. They see this opulence, all this glitter, and they wonder, what does this vaingloriousness, what does this pride, what does all this one, these symbols of pride, what do they do down here? What do they do in the deep of the sea? Well, while was fashioning this creature of cleaving wing, the immanent will that stirs and urges everything. Yes, and he answers, now he's answering what happened. Why is this vaingloriousness now deep into the sea? And what does he answer? That while was fashioning, while this creature of cleaving wing, that is a ship, right? The ship that went through the waters, cleaved, separated the waters, this creature of cleaving wing. So when this creature was fashioning itself, this creature was fashioning itself when it was coming into being, the immanent will. Notice these words, the immanent will. What is immanent will? Uh, you might have heard in terms in Christian or in religious terms, but here he's not really talking in terms of religion. He's just talking in terms of a cosmic force, a universal force. So therefore capitalize immanent will. Right? So it's not a Christian God, it's a cosmic force. So as the ship was being fashioned by human pride, as this creature, this big grand creature of cleaving wing was fashioned, the immanent will, the cosmic force, the universal force that stirs and urges everything. An interesting thing to note here is each line, as you see, is three, each paragraph, as you see here, is three lines, right? And every thought, ends here. Every sentence ends at the end of the third line, right? The paragraph ends with the end of the third line. We have a full stop. The sentence finishes there. Yeah, liars, artistry. But here, But here, the sentence does not finish, the thought does not finish, it continues to the next paragraph. What is this poetic technique called? What is this poetic technique called? It's called enjambment. 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 Enjambment basically means that the thought does not end at the paragraph or the end of the line. It continues into the next paragraph. So the line continues, the thought continues to the next paragraph. So here we have an enjambment, and so the thought continues. The immanent will that stirs and urges everything prepared a sinister mate. So what did that immanent will, which fashions, which urges and stirs everything, this energy which flows through everything in the universe, what did it do? It prepared a sinister mate for her, so gaily great, a shape of eyes for the time far and dissociate. So the thought that continues in stanza 7 is that the cosmic forces at the time that human pride, human vanity, the pride of life was creating this big creature of cleaving wind, this big ship, this grand magnificent ship, the immanent will that stirs the universe, that energizes the cosmos, that was preparing a mate for this ship, right? That was preparing the mate for this gaily great ship. And what was that mate? It was the shape of eyes, right? For a time far, far away, for a time that is just as far away from where the ship is being made, the immanent will is fashioning its mate, its a counterpart. And as the smart ship grew in stature and grace and hue, in shadowy silent distance grew the iceberg too. The smart ship, there is a repetition of S sound now. Smart ship in stature, grace, and hue. In the shadowy silent distance grew the iceberg too. The repetition of the S sound. Now that is very ominous. It's a sinister repetition, this alliteration of S sound. As the ship, the smart, magnificent, beautiful ship is being built, the cosmic force is also fashioning its mate, that is the iceberg. As the ship grew, so did the iceberg, some at a distance. Alien they seemed to be, no mortal eye could see the intimate welding of their later history. Alien they seem to be, the ship and the iceberg, they're aliens, separate, there is nothing in common. Ship, the human symbol of human pride, endeavor, planned, designed, jewel encrusted with mirrors and glass, a smart ship that grew powerful with steely chambers that ran with epic fire, the salamandrine fires, creature of cleaving wings, and on the other hand, a block of ice fashioned by the immanent will, the cosmic forces. Right? So they're alien, they're completely different. So the Twain in the title, right? Two completely separate things, the aliens. So alien they seem to be, no mortal eye could see Nobody who could, nobody could even imagine, no mortal, no human being, no living creature could imagine the intimate welding. Nobody could have thought the intimate welding of their history. It's as if they were fated to come together. They're together, their union was fated, it was destined. Or sign that they were bent by paths coincident on being anon twin halves of one august event. Again, here we have in German the intimate welding of their history, or sign that they were bent, by paths coincident. Nobody could have thought that, or nobody could have even imagine, nobody could have foreseen that they were bent. There were no signs that they were bent on a path coincident, a path that's going to become coincident, is going to converge. On being anon twin halves, of one August event. Right? Anon is for the old world. It means, it's an old English word. It's soon. It's basically means soon. So there were paths coincident on being soon twin halves of one August incident. They would come together soon in one August incident. August is not the month here. It basically means it's one great event when these two would come together. Till spinner of the years said now, and each one hears, and consummation comes and jars two hemisphere. Right? Nobody could have thought, as I said, nobody could have thought that they could come together like this. Till the spinner of the years. Who's the spinner of the years? Cosmic force, the immanent will, something that energizes the universe, or any universal energy. So till the spinner of the years said now, and each one hears. The ship hears. Who's each one? I think it is a ship and the iceberg. Each one hears. And the consummation comes. What is consummation? Consummation is the marriage union, right? It's a union in marriage. Remember another word that he uses, similar word that he uses here, intimate welding, right? Intimate relationship between the ship and the iceberg. They are, again, it's a sinister mate, right? It's a mate. It's like the ship and its mate is the iceberg. So sinister mate, they come together in intimate welding. And here he says, and consummation comes, right? They are united. They come together. It's like the ship and the iceberg getting together in a kind of a, the words like marriage consummation, intimate welding, sinister mate, it suggests that it's an intimate relationship. It was an intimate relationship between the ship and the iceberg that fate or the destiny had fashioned. So, and consummation comes and jars two hemispheres. What are the two hemispheres here? It could be just the eastern hemisphere where England is, Europe, and the western hemisphere where the ship was going. Titanic was sailing from England to America, to New York. So from east to west, it was crossing the Atlantic, and the sinking of the ship, the collision, the convergence between the iceberg and the ship jarred two hemispheres, the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. It could also mean that the natural world and the human pride, man's pride, they jar against each other and create this tragedy which deeply affected everyone. Now, if you just have a quick look at the form, the Convergence of Twain is very neatly organized. It's in 11 stanzas here, marked by Roman numerals. The stanzas are just 3 lines, and each line rhymes with each other. Years, here's, hemispheres. And if you see here, B, C, history, bent, coincident, event. So, the rhyme scheme is just A. Each stanza contains 3 consecutive end rhymes. So it is 3 stanzas, 3 rhyming stanzas, simple rhyming pattern of A, and A. Some critics and scholars have highlighted how it's like it mimics the tide, the predictability of the waves. It's like written in the fashion of waves. So two shorter lines followed by a longer line. So it imitates the pattern of waves. Form-wise, we get two short lines, as I said, in each stanza, followed by a longer line. The short line set the scene for speaker's realization, which comes in the longer line. So, or sign that they were bent on sparse coincidence. So there is some kind of a some kind of a realization that comes with the last line. It puts the thought here and then sums up the thought in the last line. So the two short lines to put the thought there and then sum it up in the last line. It's a poem without any meter. There is pretty much there is no meter. There is no meter that exists. There might be some coincidental rhythm in the short lines, but there is nothing regular so that I can call this poem iambic, written in an iambic tetrameter or anapest or anything. There is no real meter in this. And in a way, it is apt, it's suitable because the poem is talking about randomness, right? It's talking about randomness of the natural world. There are human plans, there are human possessions, there is human plans for grandeur, human vanity, pride, and then just randomness in nature, right? So when man is making a ship, nature is making an iceberg too as its mate. So the complete randomness that natural world imposes on man's plan and possessions is carried out, so the irregular beat, the unrhythmic pattern, it kind of emphasizes the randomness. The only thing that we see in the pattern of the poem here is the rhymes here, and then this whole the whole visually it creates this two short lines and followed by a longer line, create this effect of waves. So some rhythm, but again emphasizes the randomness. So that's it about Thomas Hardy and his three poems. You would probably, I have probably in one of your essays that you have to write for the assignment, I will assign you one of his poems. So go over this, read about Thomas Hardy. I will let you know which poem you have to work for your essay, and I shall see you next week. Bye bye.